What is up, everybody? We are here for episode 6 of Kane Takes. I am here with Julian Keifitz, Dan Bairstow, and Aaron Jaffe. How are you all doing tonight?
Doing well. We're all back together.
Let's get into the madness.
We are here to talk some March Madness specifically. We are over 50 games into the tournament, so we have a lot to talk about. Any games that piqued your guys' interest? What was the most exciting game for you guys over the first weekend?
Oh man,
UNC stood out for me. I think both of their games. Brady Manic, so tough. That whole team looks really good with Baycott too. And I think that team's gonna advance even further.
Yeah, UNC looked great. They scored 90 in both their games. Took down Baylor. That was crazy. I was excited to see a couple 11 seeds win. I was most surprised by Notre Dame. I know they didn't make it past the second round, but they put a beating on Alabama in the first round. They shot 53% from the field, shot 63% from three. That was a really big win for them. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it past the second round. Julian, I know you were talking about Michigan earlier, another 11 seed that really put it on them.
Michigan. I mean, look, they struggled in the first half of the round of 64 matchup with Colorado State. They didn't have point guard Devontae Jones. But the second half, I mean, Hunter Dickinson put the team on his back. He showed what he can do when he's playing his best basketball. And I was completely shocked that Michigan was able to do what they did to the Volunteers. So. They have a big matchup in the Sweet 16 against Villanova, but there's no reason to discount this Michigan squad. This is an elite squad. You got Devontae Jones and Hunter Dickinson playing great ball. Juwan Howard is an excellent coach, so the sky's the limit for Michigan right now, and they're used to being here.
Yeah, Michigan's one of the few Big Ten teams still remaining. They had 10 teams enter the tournament. They only have 2 left, them and Purdue. The game that I kind of was most blown away with was the Arizona TCU game. It was a late game on the East Coast, so a lot of you probably might have not been able to catch it. But TCU is a tough Big 12 team, got into the tournament as a 9 seed, gave Arizona everything they could handle. But Benedict Mathurin, what a fun name. The guy out of Arizona put up 30 points, kind of put up his claim to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And they got another guy, Koloko, down low. Arizona won the Big 12. I could see them very easily win the whole thing. They got they'll have another couple tough matchups these next couple rounds, but I could really see them going all the way. But one final game, I'm shy I took this long to bring up. How about our Canes?
How about those Canes?
Beating Auburn by 18. Zay Wong dunking all over Jabari Smith. That felt good. We looked at the better team wire to wire, and can't say I was completely convinced that was going to be the case going into it.
No, I bet on the Canes. I took money line and spread, but I agree. I was not fully prepared for us to actually pull that off. That was just absolutely crazy. Zay Wong's nasty dunk. Charlie Moore was playing well. Cam McGusty was hitting shots in that second game. Now I'm just nervous to play a team that we might be better than. We always play up to our competition. I'm a little nervous about if we're going to play down to Iowa State, but they're not a bad team, so I can't talk down on them. They're definitely a good team. I was just looking at some defensive stats for the NCAA teams, and they're top 15 in scoring defense and forced turnovers, which I had no idea that they had I know they like to slow the ball down a lot, but I didn't realize they had such a stellar defense. And they're playing the Big 12, which was arguably the best conference this season. So,
by the way, though, they won 7-11 in the Big 12 this year.
Okay, so, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, huge win over Wisconsin, and I think it's a very fun matchup. We're gonna see with our Canes. Back to the Auburn game quickly. I think the key in that game, watching it early on, those two Walker Kessler fouls kind of took him out of the game. He didn't play that much, and unbelievably, a small ball team was able to take that guy out of the game, and I think that was our key in that one.
I completely agree. When I saw he had those first two fouls, I was ecstatic. They had to pull him out
right out.
Had to pull him out pretty much immediately. He didn't make a field goal the whole game. He was 0 for 6 from the field. Had 2 free throws that he made. He was quiet all night. We shut down Jabari Smith. It was nice to see the Canes make a couple threes. We were one for 11 in our first game, 1 for 14, something ridiculous like that. So hopefully we can actually. I mean, we only made 3 in that game. We're like less than 20% from 3 in the tournament. So hopefully Cam and Charlie can put it together.
Yeah. A lot of people assume because we are a smaller team with 3 guards that we do rely more on the 3 ball than we actually do. Yeah. I think Cam McGusty and Isaiah Wong are great guys inside, including Charlie. And I think one of our biggest stretch guys is really our center, surprisingly, of all people.
Sam. Love Sam. Big Sam's the good.
One of our better shooters, too.
And look,
it's like over 40%.
Sam had 4 blocks in the first half of that USC game.
Yeah, and USC had some big boys. They had Mobley. I mean, if you know anything about Evan, I mean, another big guy right there that could have given us problems.
Yeah.
And I think something to look out for in that matchup against the Cyclones. Obviously, the win against Auburn was a runaway as it got later into the second half. But, we got out-rebounded seriously. 17 offensive rebounds for Auburn and just 6 for our Canes. So I think that is definitely an area that we need to shore up going into Friday night's matchup.
100%. Canes have been rough on the backboards all season long. It's brutal seeing. I mean, we don't have big guys. Sam is solid. Jordan Miller has really stepped up recently, but we don't have the size. So yeah, you're 100% right. Any rebound we can scrap for and grab, we'll take.
And loose balls.
100%. I mean,
like Auburn turned the ball over so many times that game.
Even though our defense isn't that big, like that's our best factor.
I mean, they got team chemistry and they're scrappy. That's what you need to be a Cinderella team.
Yeah, in that Auburn game, Charlie had 3 steals, Cam had 4, and Zay had 2. Like all 3 of our guards having 2+ steals. That's a great way to steal a game, pun intended. All right, that's enough talking about the past. We got to get ready for the future. Sweet 16 coming up this weekend. We got 8 games. What games are you besides the Canes? Obviously, we're excited about the Canes. What games are you most excited for, though, heading into Thursday and Friday?
Dude, it's got to be for me. It's Texas Tech and Duke. This is a heavyweight matchup.
Words out of my mouth.
This is for sure. This is a heavyweight matchup. You know what? In our group bracket, I believe I took Kansas to win, but in in a different bracket, I took Duke. I think Paolo Banchero is putting the team on his back right now. This is Coach K's last ride. This is the Blue Devils' chance to write this script and bring a championship back to Duke. So I think Duke take down the Red Raiders. I think that's going to be a very close, well-played game of basketball, but I think that is the best matchup. I mean, there's so many good matchups remaining in the Sweet 16, but that's the one I like the best. Duke against Texas Tech. I like Duke to eke out a victory over the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, that game's going to be so close because I mean, Tech, as good as they are defensively, Duke in that late stretch, in the round of 32 game, I'm against Michigan State. They were really good. Mark Williams, I think he had how many blocks in that game? I think maybe 5. He was unbelievable, and it's going to be a close one for sure.
Yeah.
So I think the Duke Texas Tech is probably a better matchup. I mean, it definitely is, but I'm a sucker for a good underdog story. So I'll be looking for those St. Peter's Peacocks taking on Purdue. And St. Peter's, I mean, they're an undersized team. They get a lot of their points in the paint, actually, with a lot of their undersized players like to take middies. They're a scrappy team. As kind of as cliche as that sounds. I mean, they get loose balls. They're good for rebounds for their height. But now they have to go against Purdue, which has a 7'4" center in Zach Edey. So we're going to see how how much height they can make up for. And then Jaden Ivey, of course, is a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. It's going to be, I don't think it's going to go too well for the Peacocks, but I will be rooting for the first 15 seed to make the Elite Eight.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, man. I thought the same thing. I'm big on Purdue. I like these tall teams like Purdue and Texas Tech, but I mean, I liked Kentucky too, and look what the Peacocks did to them. So it's March, anything can happen. That Texas Tech game, I've been praising Texas Tech all year. I love their defense. They were undefeated at home. They beat Baylor twice. But once again, it sounds cliche, but it's March, so we'll see. Duke is always good, and not always, unless they're playing Lehigh or Mercer. But
it's Coach K's last run.
Yeah, they got to push for it.
I'm gonna bring it to one more Thursday night matchup, a game I really like, and a game that I don't think is getting talked about nearly enough as it should be. Arizona and Houston.
Thank you.
Arizona and Houston. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a big time matchup. I like, this could go either way. These are two great basketball teams, but you can't. I think after their overtime victory against TCU, you cannot take or bet against the Wildcats. Christian Coloco and Benny Matherin, they are too nice to defeat. I think Arizona is gonna. I think this is the year for the Wildcats. I don't know if necessarily they're gonna win the whole thing, but I think it's hard to bet against the Wildcats not going to the Final Four. This team is too elite, but the Houston Cougars are a very good basketball team, so this could go either way.
Yeah, Houston isn't a true 5 seed. I mean, they dominated the AAC all year. They won 27-5. I mean, they just smoked the brakes off of Illinois, who was Big Ten champions a year ago. They still have Kofi Cockburn down low. I mean, they're going to give Arizona a run for their money. They're a better team than TCU. So Arizona's going to have their either together if they're going to want to take care of business here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, TCU is a great team. They had the toughest schedule difficulty out of anyone in the NCAA, and they almost gave the work to Arizona. I'm excited to see what Houston can do. Houston's 4th in NCAA Division I in scoring defense, so but they're going to have their handfuls with the 1-2 punch of Mathurin and Coloco, because they're just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. The numbers they put up in those first 2 games it looked like the stats from Kyrie and LeBron from that one finals. It was just ridiculous. They're just both putting up like 25 and 12. Like
Mathurin, literally, the reason that Arizona is still in this thing is because of Mathurin's late 3-pointer. That thing was an absolute dagger. And he put the team on his back along with Christian Coloco, who slammed the Wildcats into the Sweet 16. So I like the Wildcats in this one, but this is going to be another well played close basketball game.
Yeah. My most exciting game, obviously, besides the Canes, because not only is it the Canes, but it's 10-11 matchup in the Sweet 16. That's always fun. I don't know how often that even happens. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm really excited to see Gonzaga play Arkansas. I thought Memphis being +10 against Gonzaga was ridiculous. Our boy Tanner hooked me onto that one. I think the same thing could be happening here with Arkansas +9. They're such a good team. They played an SEC that was good in the regular season and has kind of fallen apart in the tournament. But I really, really like Arkansas. JD Note is really good. I'm going to take +9 on Arkansas. I don't know if they win the game, but I know for sure it's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Gonzaga wasn't the most convincing one in the world at first. I mean, for Gonzaga, they pulled away at the end of the second against Memphis. But I mean, Chet didn't look like a world beater. That Drew Timme right now is still the best player on that team. I mean, I'm sure in 5 years from now, Chet's going to be so much better and so much more developed. But that offense, if they want to win, they have to run through Timme, and he's going to have to be the one that takes over.
Timme and Mathurin, I think, are the 2 best players in the tournament right now left. I would say Shibwe, but obviously he got knocked out with Kentucky in the first round. But Drew Timme has been a force for Gonzaga, no doubt about that.
As much as the Zags struggled against Memphis, which I definitely I thought that would be the case. You can't discount the coaching abilities of Mark Few. He's an excellent coach. He's been at the helm for Gonzaga since 1999, and Gonzaga's feels like they've come up just short every year. I mean, last year, of course, ultimately losing to Baylor, but this is a great basketball team. But at the same time, you got to be wary. The Zags have definitely been a letdown in March Madness of years past.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on from a little college basketball. Let's go pro basketball. We got NBA season coming to a close soon. Lots of discussion on who's going to win the finals, who's going to win MVP, who's going to win Rookie of the Year. So let's do a little NBA awards predictions. Let's start with you, Dan. Who are you feeling for MVP this season?
So I'm sticking with the guy who's been the favorite most of the year, Joel Embiid. Jokic has been putting up a late push, but I think Embiid has kind of been the most dominating guy, kind of wire to wire this year. I mean, he's fluctuating LeBron and Giannis at this point for the scoring leader. It changes every day, but I haven't seen this guy not be double teamed a single possession all year. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, a lot of the argument is for Jokic is that he's been doing it by himself, but Embiid had the Sixers as the 3 seed before Harden got there, and really not much has changed. I just think he's the overall better player as Nikola Jokic. It's tough. I know the advanced stats say otherwise, but eye test for me. I'll ride with Embiid over anyone for MVP.
I'm definitely with you on that. I think Embiid, it was kind of between those two guys last year. Jokic got it. I think it's Embiid's year. I think is it ridiculous to mention LeBron James's name?
Yes.
It is. I know where they are, but if he's able to make that play-in, win the play-in, averaging 30 a game at 37, like he deserves more recognition for what he's doing.
LeBron's amazing. I don't want to say he's not great. Like everything that's about LeBron is true. He's awesome. He's one of the best to ever do it. They're the 9 seed right now. They can't get out of their own way. He's missed a handful of games this year. I can't. I just can't.
I had a similar argument last year with Curry. It was the Warriors weren't doing too well, but Curry was the only player on that team that was giving them any chance of anything. I mean, my pick is Embiid, but I think LeBron deserves a little honorable mention.
I mean, Steph Curry's a hell of a player. LeBron James is a hell of a player. You cannot be the MVP if you're not a higher seed than what they are. It's just at a certain point you got to have that winning standard.
I got to go Embiid too for MVP, without a doubt. Oh, yeah,
I agree. I was looking at Coach of the Year, particularly because I'm interested in JB Bickerstaff. He's plus 320 for the Cavs. I don't know what the Cavs record are, but I remember looking a couple weeks ago and being like, what is going on? Like, how are they doing so well? Evan Mobley's been playing really well for them. They're just hot, and I think Bickerstaff deserves a look at it. I think Monty Williams will probably win because the Suns are just absolutely ridiculous this season. But do you guys have any other picks for Coach of the Year?
I think
you guys go.
I was just gonna say, I think when your team is winning 80% of its games, as the Phoenix Suns are, it's hard not to go with Monty Williams for that. So, check me out for Monty Williams, Coach of the Year.
Yeah. I think Williams wins it, but I think my personal pick for it would be Taylor Jenkins with the Grizzlies. I think just what he's done with the culture there, the youth, Ja's taken the next step in his game. I think Ja will win Most Improved Player for sure. But yeah, I think the Grizzlies are going to go far in the playoffs, and I love what they're doing with that young core.
I think a lot of people are kind of caught up in the Ja Morant show. That Grizzlies team is a deep squad. A lot of shooters, a lot of great defenders. Jaren Jackson's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. Taylor Jenkins doing an incredible job. They're actually 14-2 without Ja Morant this year.
Wow.
So, I mean, Monty Williams, I guess my pick. Another name I just got to throw in there is Eric Spoelstra. I mean, Jimmy Butler's not had that amazing of a year. The Heat have been just quietly the 1 seed for the kind of the majority of the second half of the season. Monty Williams, but the Suns are just such on a dominant streak right now and really haven't missed a beat with Chris Paul getting injured too. You got to do it. And I think Bickerstaff was a great name to mention as well.
The Heat did go through that period when Bam was hurt, Jimmy was hurt, even Hero was hurt for a bit, and there were just guys popping up every game that that have to fill that role, and you got to give credit to Spoelstra, of course. Been the coach on the Heat for so long. They're one of few NBA teams that have like a true identity when they step on the court.
Yeah, you had Spoelstra had guys like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent dropping like 38 games.
Exactly.
So, like, who are these guys?
Yeah, I like that you guys mentioned the Grizzlies, because they're quietly the 2 seed in the West and also the second overall best team record-wise in the league. Like you said, the Suns are winning 80% of their games. The Grizzlies are winning 68% of their games. Behind them next is the Heat at 65 and the Warriors as well. So the Grizzlies are just very quietly one of the top 2 teams in the league. And it'll be interesting to see Ja Morant push into the playoffs and, hopefully play in a Western Conference final. That would be so sick.
He's not going to win. He's not going to – this isn't a person who's going to win coach of the year, but I think you got to give an honorable mention to Doc Rivers, the way he's been able to really get some of those guys on the 7. Look, this is a Sixers team that has had a lot of strife the last couple seasons, but I think the way that Tyrese Maxey and George Niang have developed, I think give some credit to Doc Rivers for that. I think Tyrese Maxey is developing into a great player. He's not going to win Coach of the Year, like I said, but you can't discount the experience that Doc Rivers has, and I think the Sixers make a deep run in the playoffs. As
a Sixers fan, I do. I appreciate the Doc love. I'm just nervous about how Doc is going to handle our team come playoff time. He wasn't the best last year, but Doc's a great coach.
We'll see. Anything can happen.
We love him.
I think a lot of there's a lot of awards that kind of we know who's going to take them home. I think Defensive Player of the Year is pretty close. Few guys there that could win that. Bam, Rudy Gobert. I think Robert Williams has been unbelievable defensively for the Celtics, but I don't know if they'd give it to him. Giannis always. Who would you guys pick for that one?
I'll throw Jaren Jackson's name in there again. He's one of the best in the entire league, and kind of a field goal percentage allowed when he's contesting, defensive rating. He's been a kind of a huge glue guy for the Grizzlies. I think if Draymond Green didn't get injured this year, he would have been running away with it, though. I think that was my big, but he missed too many games for me to have that vote still for him.
Yeah, I like the Robert Williams pick. He's been doing, especially the past, 15 games or so, he's been playing incredible. I like Bam. I like Jared Allen. I like this Cleveland team. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I'm just impressed by them. I really thought without LeBron, obviously he left and came back a couple times, but I've always just thought of them without LeBron as just a garbage team, and they've put it together this season.
Yeah, Ja probably not going to have too many competitors for most improved, but Darius Garland's another name. Deserves some credit.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. All right. You're talking about odds and the NBA predictions. Anything can happen. March Madness, anything can happen. How about NFL free agency? Anything can happen. The Chiefs get rid of Tyreek Hill, their 2016 165th overall draft pick, which I did not know until today. They're sending him to Miami for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, 2 fourth rounds, and a 5th round.
We were talking about it. We were talking about it all earlier today. But you know what? I think this is a losing move for both teams. I think Mahomes is losing his deep threat. I think bombing. I think bombs away the air raid offense. That's Mahomes' game. That's how he shines. I don't think he's gonna be able to throw to Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, Byron Pringle like that anymore. And at the same time, Tyreek Hill's an incredibly talented football player, but Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be able to hit him deep the way that Patrick Mahomes was able to hit him deep in Kansas City. I think this is not he's going to put up numbers, but this is not a good fit. I think the Dolphins are selling a lot of their. I think they're selling their future to go 9-8, and I think they're maybe a step above the Patriots. So I think the Chiefs lose their big deep threat, and I don't think the Dolphins are going to improve that much as a unit.
I don't think the Dolphins are necessarily getting Hill to go deep. I think they're just going to have Waddle and Hill both running end arounds. But I think the Chiefs lose kind of that X factor guy in Hill, and I think they become a lot more predictable now offensively. I don't know, the AFC West. Every day my kind of predictions for the AFC West seem to change. I don't know. What do you guys think? This does for the Chiefs? I know you said, Julian, that you think it makes both teams weaker, but
so I mean, there's no way around it. It makes the Chiefs' offense worse. I mean, losing Tyreek Hill. I mean, I think he's the second best receiver in the NFL outside of Devontae Adams. I think just how fast he is, it just changes the defensive game plan more than so many other guys. But I mean, Travis Kelce's still there. I mean, Juju obviously is not exactly the best receiver in the league, but I mean, the Chiefs now have a little bit of cap space. They can sign a couple guys. Yep. Maybe I don't think this year's their year by any case, but guys are going to want to play for Mahomes. I think they will find a way to rebound and still be an elite team. That AFC West is so loaded out. It's going to be tough for them to win the division this year. Kind of on the Dolphins side, though, I actually think it's not the worst move in the world. They actually still have 2 first-round picks next year because they've been stockpiling for a little bit back when they were tanking originally with Brian Flores. So Tua with Tyreek and Waddle, he might not be able to hit these guys as deep as often, but what Mike McDaniel is certainly doing there, he's identifying kind of a culture with that offense, kind of an identity. Really, it's going to move fast, kind of like San Francisco. They got Raheem Mostert in free agency, Chase Edmonds, Waddle and Hill. And they got Teron Armstead. So they have an offensive line. It's going to be this Dolphins offense is going to look a whole lot different next year. It's going to, and it's going to see if it's going to pay off.
That's what I was about to say exactly. Is excuse me, is that they're investing in protecting Tagovailoa and they're investing in options for him as well. I agree. I think the Dolphins are going to be good this year. I kind of agree with Julian though that I mean they're going to be 10-7 at best probably. I mean we'll see. We could all be looking stupid October, November, but I think the Chiefs will be all right. I think they'll probably draft Treylon Burks from Arkansas late in the first round. They have the 29th and 30th pick in the first round now, after getting one of them from the Dolphins. But yeah, I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do. They need to trade for another wide receiver 1 because Juju Smith-Schuster is not that.
I think they got to be looking at a Super Bowl champion from a year ago, Mr. Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, once he's healthy,
you got to find some weapons. I mean, he probably won't be able to start the season right away.
Yeah,
but this team, you have too much talent to not try to continue to try to go all in because you can win a Super Bowl any given year with Mahomes and
the Chiefs are trying to build a dynasty, and look, they've won 1 Super Bowl. That's a good start, but when you have a team like this at a time like this, you know you're running out of time every season. So it's nose to the grindstone season for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they try to use those picks that they got to trade for another receiver. I mean, this is a little bit of a reach, but I'd like to see DK Metcalf play with Mahomes. That would be absolutely insane. But we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Dolphins that's a good division they're in now. I think Josh Allen probably gonna take the Bills to that first position in that division. Jets are getting better. It's gonna be exciting. Football is getting very competitive, and especially the AFC.
Absolutely. All right, guys. How'd you guys do on your bets last week? I was 1-1 again. I've been 1-1 every week so far.
So I actually had a little bit of difficulties last week. I think I was 0-0. I wasn't able to give mine out, but we will be going 2-0 this week. I can promise you that.
Mine was brutal. I took Davidson money line, and they unfortunately lost by 1 to Michigan State. A killer for my ego, but I feel good that Davidson was close. So 0-1 by a hair.
Aaron?
Yeah, also wasn't able to give my bets last week, so 0-0. Didn't lose any bets though.
There you go, no worries.
What you like to see.
Well, how about your bets for this week? What do you got?
I mean, come on. I think a lot of us are gonna like that second one. UNC, the first one, plus 2.5 over UCLA. I love this UNC team. Brady Manick, RJ Davis, Armando Baycott. I mean, I think they should win this one. They prove they can beat good teams, and I think they're going to do it here. And then the Canes against Iowa. I think there's so many different players on this team that can score the ball, can put the game on their shoulders, and I love this basketball team, and we got to ride with our Canes.
Absolutely.
I'm going St. Peter's Peacocks, man. No reason not to put $20 on this team. Put $20 on the St. Peter's Peacocks. They beat Kentucky. Purdue is not that much further away from Kentucky. You put $20 on this team, on the Peacocks, and they win, you're going to win $150. There's no reason not to throw $20 on the Peacocks. And then, I love betting. I love betting on the underdog. Arkansas plus 360 over Gonzaga. I think the Zags showed a lot of chinks in the armor against Memphis, and I think this Razorbacks team is a lot better than Memphis. So I'm playing the numbers here. I think Arkansas takes down Gonzaga. I think they're a better team than Memphis, and I think the Razorbacks can give the Zags a run for their money.
Dan,
so I didn't mean to go the exact opposite way as you, Julian, but I did take Purdue minus 12.5 against the Peacocks. I want you to be right. I want to be wrong about this one, but I think Zach Edey, he's 7'4", and then Jaden Ivey, I think he's the best guard. And what was it in all the Big Ten this year? And he's probably 1 or 2 for the best guard in all college basketball. I think he's incredible. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Peacocks. And then Duke plus 1. I'm not fading the Coach K Magic right now. I think Paolo Banchero, seeing the players playing better than anyone in the country, he is on an absolute tear since the ACC tournament. I think, and Wendell Moore too. I mean, he's one of the most fun players to watch for me. I think Duke takes care of Texas Tech, which kind of contradicts myself because I had Texas Tech going to the Final Four, but I'm not betting against Coach K here.
All right. I was feeling a little chalky today, so I went with the parlay. I've been doing some underdogs and feeling a little different today. So I'm going UFC fights, women's MMA. We got Manon Fiorot. She's a French fighter. I don't know if any of you guys have watched her, but she is an animal. She is the best finishes in women's MMA. She just lights people up, and she's so much fun to watch. Chalky at minus 400, and I'm adding Villanova to that. I like Michigan. I just think Villanova is a better team, and I think they're going to win. That's about it. Nothing too complicated there. So, all right, guys. That was a great show. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week for Canes Takes once again. Have a good weekend, and go Canes.
Peace out.